I'm OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors, and you're listening to the Double Clutch Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Double Clutch NBA Podcast. I'm Matthew Wellington and I'm joined tonight once again by Mike Miller.
Hello.
It's been a while since we've been on the show together.
Yeah, it has. I can't even recall.
February the 8th, I think, was the last time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's very precise. Not that I've got the website up in front of me, so I can see that. But you've done a special guest show since then. You obviously had Roland Lazenby on, which was a fantastic listen.
Good. Yeah, good conversation. I like Roland a lot. Nice bloke.
Very interesting man.
Very.
You went for breakfast with him once, did you not?
I did go for breakfast with him, and I had avocado on wholemeal toast.
Oh, wow.
With a black Americano, because that's how I roll.
That is how you roll. That's how you roll Double Clutch. Just some sort of housekeeping bits and bobs to get out of the way first. Since we last did a podcast, we've had a couple of new people join the website, so shout out to Tom Crawford, Jamie Powell, and Thomas Lamming for joining us recently. They're all going to be contributing to the site in their own various ways. Me and Mike were saying before we started recording, actually, that the Slack chat, which is how we communicate with each other, has just been completely bonkers the last couple of weeks. It just seems to be the furore around the NBA right now, especially amongst our little community we have of writers on our site. It's just completely insane, and Twitter's been the same, because we're posting hot takes all the time, and it's sparking a lot of debates, and it's been it's a bit strange when you come home from work and you've got like 300 notifications on your phone.
It's nuts. I think during the pod tonight we should probably just randomly do check-ins, because since I checked it about 20 minutes ago, I'm at 99 notifications.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm just going to throw in during the pod how many notifications we're at.
How many? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it crashed my phone earlier as well.
Probably did. It's probably got something to do with the fact that Josh Coyne posted his Double Clutch expose article where he went in on all things spicy gossip and taught some people some new ones. It's a special piece. Go and read it. That's basically all I need to say. But there's been plenty of pieces that have gone up recently. Ben Moorcroft did some bits on the Orlando Magic and their young core. Tom Crawford, the new guy, did about DeAndre Jordan and Mitchell Robinson being sort of the master and the apprentice. Well worth a read. Mitchell Robinson's had some brilliant games the last couple of nights as well. I think the Knicks have won 2 straight, so they're doing well. And Hugh did a really, really great piece on the Regal and the sort of impact that's had on basketball community in London and in the UK, and that got a lot of traction with various other podcasts and NBA sites that cover it in the UK. So that was cool. Some Paul George stuff from Tom Wade, who's been carrying the site a lot recently, and then your NBA Players Association piece obviously went up as well, and you went there a while ago, and it's taken some time to get some bits and bobs approved and videos and stuff from them, but that's well worth a read as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's a kind compliment. But yeah, it did take a while, but it was an amazing experience to go in. I think I mentioned it on the pod before. Actually, I went there last August when I was in New York. But what an amazing office! To be fair, any office with a regulation NBA court is pretty amazing, but this was just next level.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. I remember seeing some planning permissions for some offices down near the O2 in London.
Oh yeah,
and
you sent them to me.
On the rooftop was a full-size basketball court. I was like, oh my god, that's insane.
Well, this one weirdly is built in. It's in a high-rise, obviously, in downtown New York, and it's about halfway up. So they just randomly opened up a floor, turned it into a court, and it's just awesome. And then you go up into a mezzanine level, and there's a gym, with all the latest gear, and then there's a hot tub and a cold pool or whatever it is. They've got all this
modern office.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally not like my office at work, which was built in like the 60s and has got asbestos in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not like that. But
no.
Then again, if you represent the highest earning unionised group of employees, you probably have a bigger budget to play it with.
Yeah, so, an office with a basketball court is everybody's dream. I always sort of imagine that's the sort of thing that Nick Whitfield walks into when he goes to FIBA, but I don't think it's quite that exciting.
FIBA's got an outdoor court, definitely, the Switzerland one. To be fair, there's a place I pass on, and this is what level I would be happy with. There's I think it's a fire station on my train journey into work that just has a really cheap portable hoop out the back, and I'm like, I'd love that. I'd love that.
That's like my idea to tag one to sort of nail one of those mini hoops to the wall in the office at work, because Elliot, one of my colleagues, just keeps spinning around and trying to throw things in the waste bin from stupid distances. So I was like, you may as well put a basketball hoop up there and just practice your shooting while you're at it.
You need one of what I've got, which is a basketball waste bin. Inspired. That
sounds like a cheaper alternative. I think I might have to do that.
Yeah, do it.
Then hammering nails into the wall of the works office, which might fall down at any minute.
I've got 2, so technically I can go full court with my recycling. So
Nice. Anyway, if you want to check out any of the articles that have gone up on Double Clutch recently, it's doubleclutch.uk. Please check us out on Facebook, etc. Moving on. We'll start with an interesting one. The Portland Trailblazers got stuck in an elevator/lift after Tuesday night's game in Boston. They were stuck in there for about 30 minutes, I think, and it was pretty amusing because Enes Kanter and Myers Leonard and some of the other guys were posting videos on Twitter about the team, the 8 members of the team that was stuck in the lift for that time. And yeah, it's safe to say that made me giggle.
It's one of the lighter stories. I think Evan Turner stole the show for me with "This is not how you treat a former number 1 team in the West." Perfect quote for it.
And an elite offense that beat the Golden State Warriors the other night as well. So.
Well, that's exactly right. That's not how you treat them.
How dare you do that?
Their Twitter timeline today confirmed they all walked and took the stairs today instead. Did you see any of the videos that came with it?
I saw the video of them getting out, and they all yelled "stairs" like really excitedly as they got out, and there was a crowd there that had gathered and was giving them a round of applause, which was amusing. But Myers Leonard was like spinning the camera around, and he seemed to be sweating, and quite a lot of people seemed to be getting really warm in there.
They were like rationing food and stuff, and getting I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lillard took some of someone's chocolate bar or something. They were upset with how much he'd taken. But the best bit was, I don't know if he was joking or not, but there's a point. I think they must be getting out at the time because the lift starts sort of bouncing, and I'm guessing it's guys climbing out of it who are big guys. And Evan Turner's just like talking into just like mumbling into the camera, fearing for his life whilst holding on to Gary Trent Jr. And it's just, I'm just like, if it's tongue in cheek, it's brilliant, but if it's genuine, he genuinely looks scared. So yeah.
So this brings me on to an interesting one, which I thought we'd put out to the hashtag NBA in the UK audience. If you guys were stuck in a lift for 30 minutes with any NBA player or players, who would it be and why? Please let us know. Tweet us at DoubleClutchUK and include hashtag MyNBALift. Now I've checked this hashtag, and nobody else is using it. So we need to see how many people reply with hashtag MyNBALift. We'll announce there's no winners. This is just a bit of an amusing thing to see how engaged everybody is and what funny things people come up with. But yeah, we'd like.
I think
we
should have who you would want it to be and who you wouldn't want it to be. that would root out some of the funniest stories, I think.
It's something you have to put a bit of thought into, because I was like sitting there thinking, well, what if I asked this on the spot right now to you? And I thought it was probably a bit unfair, because you could think of so many things. Like if you think of the whole history and sphere of the NBA.
Oh, any NBA player ever?
Yeah, just do it. Could you put like the Mount Rushmore all in a lift and just get them to argue?
So, who would I most want to be in the one with? Wilt Chamberlain, because that guy would just entertain you for days with all his crazy stories. Who wouldn't I want to be in a lift with? Do you remember Adam Morrison? Because
the lift's probably going to collapse.
Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't. But yeah, do you remember Adam Morrison, the
yes,
Bobcats guy? Yeah. So he never used to shower. So I don't want to be stuck in a lift with a guy who stinks of BO. That's just no thanks. I don't need that. If you're going to be stuck in a lift with me, you have to have a baseline, of personal hygiene, which he just does not meet.
Yeah. Being stuck in the lift with Damian Lillard wouldn't be too bad, because he could just rap to you.
That's true.
That'd pass the time. You could have him, and then if you wanted to torture you could have Shaq rap to you.
If you wanted to torture you could have Shaq breakdance in there, because that thing would be bouncing up and down.
Him and Dwight. Let's get him and Dwight in the lift breakdancing with you stuck in the middle. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that would be scary.
Oh. Yeah, I could just get them all in and I have them argue over who's actually Superman. That'd be quite amusing.
Yeah, that would.
Considering they've all claimed it at some point throughout their career. Anyway, right. Moving on to the serious business. We're actually going to do a test quiz on the Warriors at the end of the show because Sky Sports have put it on their website, which we thought was interesting. So we're going to look through that, which I think is 10 or 12 questions or something, just to finish the show. But anyway, on to the serious business. This is our Stretch Run podcast. We're just going to sit here and discuss some of the interesting points and teams and players we think NBA and UK fans should be looking out for as the season sort of hurtles towards the playoffs. There's some special announcements that we probably won't be making on this show with regards to the playoffs, but keep your ears open and your eyes open and everything peeled with regards to Double Clutch and what we might be doing for the NBA playoffs this season.
Insert wink, wink.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything because we've not nailed down times or anything like that. But
Stop saying.
Huh?
Stop saying.
Stop
just
saying.
Leave it. Yeah,
I'm just going to leave it.
The audience
I don't want to leave it. This is called teasing. This is like the really terrible teaser trailer.
Yeah, we need that American voice.
Yeah,
coming soon.
Where's the NBA Jam guy?
Tim Kitzrow. We need him as well.
He could have done it. That'd have been great. So yeah, we're going to jump around. We've got some games to discuss from last night. The Celtics and the Raptors was an interesting one. Raptors absolutely blew them out, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Anyway, before we do, we're actually going to start with the Brooklyn Nets, who's a team that we don't tend to... Well, we're going to start with the Brooklyn Nets and the Sacramento Kings, because these two teams were not supposed to be in the positions they are in at the moment. If you're a new NBA fan, if you're a young NBA fan especially, these are the up-and-coming teams, so they're going to be one that if you're looking for a team to support over the next 5 to 10 years or whatever, they're probably going to be one that you'll end up rooting for. There was a period of time, I think, when Jay-Z was one of the... well, he wasn't a majority owner, was he? When he was involved with the Nets, that everyone just seemed to buy Brooklyn Nets apparel because it was cool. But now they are actually legitimately cool. They're playing really well. Early on in their campaign, they lost 8 games in a row. They fell to 8-18. It looked like the season was just going to fall apart for them, and it looked like the sort of typical Nets season that me and Mike and everybody else has become used to. But behind D'Angelo Russell, the former Laker who's traded away and has been much disregarded by that franchise, he's turned himself into an all-star level guard this season, and the other New York team is making all the noise at the moment. I think they're 32-30 at the moment, which correct. Is comfortable. They were in a pretty good spot going into the all-star break as well the other week, but they've won games since then. They absolutely hammered Hugh Hopkins' San Antonio Spurs on Tuesday morning. Was not a fun game to watch at all, and Joe Harris just went completely off on one. But they've been a real revelation to watch this season, and Joe Harris obviously won the 3-point shooting contest at All-Star Weekend the other weekend as well. So
yeah,
try saying that 22 times quickly. The All-Star Weekend the other weekend.
They are much better than I certainly give them credit for. Anyone who's listened to this show knows that I went on a boycott of watching their games for about 3 years. Felt like that. And they seem to be the only ones that NBA were shown on Sky for the weekend, NBA Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah, we've seen them a few times,
and it was just I hated it. But now they're enjoyable to watch. I do kind of feel that everyone's sort of getting. See, everyone loves an underdog, so I get why there's this hype around them at the minute. But they're not actually that good. They're 32-30. They are. So can we just temper the excitement? They are good. They're just not that good. They're not going to make any noise in the playoffs, really, are they?
No.
But, enjoy it. It's good fun watching them not lose. But I don't even know how sustainable this is going forwards. I need to sort of dive into this more, but I just look at them and worry that this could be their version of lightning in a bottle.
Well, it might well be, because the way the Eastern Conference has fallen this year, you've got some sort of elite teams at the top, and then you've got middling ones in the middle, and as usual, the sort of fifth place downwards in the Eastern Conference towards that 8th spot is just it could be one team one night and another team another. I just find the whole thing amusing, because the Atlantic Division for a while was pretty terrible, and in recent years they've stepped up. Toronto have been really good. Boston were great last season. The Philadelphia looked pretty good. The Knicks are god-awful, as usual. And now the Nets are playing well again. But if you go back and look at our season guide, the Nets won 28 games last season. We predicted them to win 27 as a team earlier on. So don't listen to anything we say, because we clearly get everything wrong. But they've just completely blown everyone's expectations out of the water. They've gone on a scintillating run, and most of that has purely been behind D'Angelo Russell, but Spencer Dinwiddie's been superb for them when he hasn't been injured, and Caris LeVert and Joe Harris I think he's got the best 3-point shooting percentage in the league at the moment.
Yeah, he overtook Davis Bertans during the game.
Was it Davis Bertans, was it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I thought Seth Curry was second last I looked. But...
Well, these things change.
They do.
Oh, I'm intrigued to see what they do going forwards, though, for the rest of the season. Obviously, they've got 20 games left. They've got the 4th toughest remaining schedule strength, courtesy of our friends at tankathon.com.
Amazing website.
Gotta love that site. And that includes their 5 toughest teams are the Bucks, the Raptors. They've got the Bucks twice, the Raptors, the Pacers, the 76ers, and the Thunder. So there's a lot of Eastern Conference teams there that are above them and can spread the gap, if that makes sense, in terms of the records. So where are they going to be? So what are they now at the minute? They're in the sixth seed, and they've got to play all of the top 4 seeds and one of them twice. It's going to be it's a tough run for them.
It's the jostling, though. It's that stage of the season where, you could play the Hornets one night and beat them, play the Wizards the next, and then the Wizards beat you. Like, the Wizards seem to be like every time you expect the Wizards to lose a game, they end up winning one. And the NBA is so unpredictable. Like, that's one of the biggest reasons we love it. Like, who'd have thought that the Celtics would have got blown out by the Raptors last night? Like, I don't think anybody would have seen that one come in. And even the Lakers lost to the bloody Memphis Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 2 woeful teams, and that's poured more shame on their season. But no, the Nets for me have been they've been really really fantastic. And the game the other night where Russell had 23 points, 8 assists and 7 rebounds, that snapped a 7-game losing streak against the Spurs, which has lasted a couple of seasons now, and everything just seems to be slowly turning around for that franchise, and Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson have really started to produce a bit of a talent factory there. Spencer Dinwiddie is there's been arguments in our Slack chat the last week about who's the best backup point guard in the league. It might be him, it could be TJ McConnell, but Spencer Dinwiddie is as good a shout as any at the moment. Be interested to see what the NBA and UK fans think, but they're just getting everything right. And it's amazing to think that a few years ago this team literally looked like they had no future because they traded away everything and none of their picks looked like they were going to work out. And what they've done has just been great. And having the Nets back in the playoffs, one of the big market teams, is always going to be a positive for the NBA in terms of a sort of media market and sales perspective. So
yeah, I agree with that. I also, part of me wonders, is it because they don't have their pick this year? So how much of this is
just go for it,
because you're not allowed to tank. So, but maybe they do have their pick. I can't remember. There was some link to their pick that I couldn't. Someone had it or someone didn't. I'm pretty sure it was this year. They've had so many picks go recently though that it's just ridiculous. But yeah, fair play to them. They are in a position now which they haven't been in a long time, and they've done it without a franchise cornerstone, without a superstar. Like, you can say what you want about D'Angelo Russell, he's not a superstar.
He's fun to watch, though.
Well, yeah,
hella fun to watch.
Jeremy Lin was fun to watch.
Hey, dude, Jeremy Lin's still fun to watch.
What is going on? That just proves my
argument. Attacking Jeremy Lin today.
No, I'm not attacking him. I'm just pointing out that he's not a superstar. He's not. You can be fun to watch. That doesn't actually mean you are an elite player by NBA standards. Of course, if you're in the NBA, you're an elite player by the fact you're in the 450 best, people for that job in the world. But I think they've done really well. They're a team that are greater than the sum of their parts.
Yeah. I think they've got a fairly, if you're looking at the strength of schedule remaining, I think it's manageable. I think they will win games that they expect to win and lose some that they expect to win, but they're going to make the playoffs, and that's just the big key point you take from that this season, because nobody had them even close. I don't think.
They've got a really tough 7-game road trip coming up in March. Well, that's March is 2 days away, so not that long away. Where they've got the Thunder, the Jazz, the Clippers, the Kings, who are all scrapping for playoff positions. The Lakers, who may or may not be scrapping for a playoff.
They might have given up by then. There might have been immunity by then.
then the Blazers, then the 76ers. Then they come back to the Celtics, the Bucks, the Raptors, the Bucks, the Pacers, and then the Heat. That 7 games on the road, then finishing off with those. Like, out of those last 15 games or whatever, or 12 games, the only one in there that, you know, the Heat and the Lakers are the ones where you look and think, okay, that's an easy-ish win, assuming the Lakers are their current, you know, absolute shambles of a franchise, and you know
they're a franchise,
apparently. Yeah, I don't know. I really hope they make it, but they've really got to, over these next sort of 10 games or so, they need to secure themselves that playoff spot, because they're going to be in a lot of tough games towards the end of the season.
Yeah, well, it helps beating the Spurs, because that's a good starter for the second half of your stretch run, is to go out and beat one of the. I know the Spurs have been struggling, but they're still one of the better coached teams in the NBA, and they know what they're doing. So going out and beating them is a good statement. The Sacramento Kings. I mean, Kevin Durant spoke about these guys the other day after they lost. After they beat the Kings by 2 points. Did you see the game winning play?
I didn't.
Oh, you missed Steph Curry looking all shocked.
No, I did see it. Yep, you
did see it. You saw Steph Curry's reaction on the sideline, which has now been turned into a meme and a GIF and everything else you get in the social generation. Yeah. So he said, I like how they play. They play fast. They just lack experience, in my opinion, but they're going to be one of those teams to be reckoned with very, very soon. He's absolutely right. And yet again, another one of those teams that's just sort of burst out of, well, not really burst out of nowhere. We knew they had some talented players, but those talented players have been putting it all together. This season, De'Aaron Fox especially has averaged 17.2 points a game on 46% from the field. He's having a phenomenal jump up this season, so much so that he's actually caused Mike to argue about whether or not he can win Most Improved. We've had Buddy Hield, he's jumped up massively. He's not looking like Steph Curry yet, but he's in the top 30 true shooting percentage in the league, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's somewhere between Seth and Steph at the moment.
But yeah, I mean, the Kings have lost all 4 of their matchups versus the defending NBA champs, which is not much of a surprise. But they've only lost them by a combined 12 points, which is seriously impressive for a young team that, you know, isn't quite known for how well they play defense. But this season they've been phenomenal. They sit at 31-28, and basically they're in charge of their own destiny now. That's the way I'd phrase it. They've already won more games than they did last year. I think they were 12th in the Western Conference last year. And they were yet again another team that Double Clutch did not expect to do too well this season.
I remember the preseason preview. The preseason
preview pods.
Put my teeth in for that.
Mouthful.
And I remember just being like, they're the Kings.
We had them winning 19 games, by the way.
It's ridiculous. But one of the caveats I made to that was like, they need to get out and run. They need to turn this team over to the youngsters. They've got the youth. They've got the pace. Because they were the slowest team in the league last year, because they ran everything through Zach Randolph.
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous. They made they respectfully spoke to Randolph this year and said, we're not going to play you. And he's been acting in an advisory role, even though he's still on the payroll. They're really good fun to watch now. Like I watch many more Kings games than I ever thought would be humanly possible. I say humanly possible. I could have watched all 82, I guess, but I thought would be actually I would be inclined to watch this year. And every time it's because I want to see a fast up-tempo team who get out and push the floor. And what was I doing the other day? I was listening to Open Floor, and they were talking about, you know, which 1-8 matchup would be the better for the West. You know, everyone would prefer to see Lakers Warriors. And I was like, well, no, not everyone would, because I mean, even if the Lakers won a game, and it'd likely be a sweep, I would much rather see the Kings in that game, because, like, as you say, the 12-point difference there, they run the games a lot more closely. They just hustle, they work. These are guys who want to prove themselves on that level. These aren't guys who are, you know, they've already sort of thrown in the towel. If you watch some of the defensive plays of a certain Mr. James recently, although I would argue that he's been doing that for years anyway. This is a fun team. Again, greater than the sum of their individual parts, but they have some fantastic individual parts as well. And yeah, De'Aaron Fox, I love watching that guy with chase down blocks. It's just he doesn't give up. He hustles and runs his arse everywhere, and he is probably the quickest player in the league. It's awesome to see.
I don't think it's even close. Because, I mean, I know John Wall has held the title for a while, and Russell Westbrook's been up there as well, but Darren Fox is literally like watching a blur. Like, if you take your eyes off the game for a couple of seconds, he's gone from one end of the court to the other. And I read somewhere early on that their average, like from stealing the ball on one end to scoring at the other, is something like 4.56 seconds. It's just... It's crazy how quick they can get up the court, and he's got a crazy stride on him for a 6'3" point guard. Like, he's one of these new era, big, athletic, strong point guards, and he's piled on the muscle this season, and it's been obvious to see. But his shooting efficiency has just absolutely skyrocketed, and it's helped that he's had Buddy Hield and Bogdan Bogdanovic and Harrison Barnes all around him. I know Harrison Barnes is a fairly new addition to that team, but he fits into them perfectly. He's a veteran piece. He's a complementary wing player for Fox and Hield, and they've done everything right recently, and that's something that we never really thought we'd say about the Kings, because they always seem to just get everything wrong. But Buddy Hield has proved his doubters wrong. De'Aaron Fox has just made statement after statement, and you mentioned the fact that their pace. I mean, they're tied second in the league in terms of their pace, and I think it's the Atlanta Hawks are quicker than them, and that's purely because most of their offense is just run through Trae Young, and he just runs up and down the court like a complete loony. But and they steal the ball a lot, and they score off turnovers all the time. Like, they're going to be a real difficult team, and it would just be incredible to get that team back in the playoffs again, because everything everyone remembers from the Sacramento Kings being in the playoffs last time is the atmosphere, and they have fought hard to keep that team in Sacramento and to get them back in the promised land, even if it's just a one and done, which it probably will be. It's a start of positive things, and it almost reminds you of some of the younger times when you saw the Warriors when they were first coming together and working out who was what and what was going on.
That is a bold comparison. I like it.
It is, but they're utilising everything that they do well. They're pushing the pace, and they're stealing the ball, and they're getting in the passing lanes, and they are doing everything right, and they're playing to the strengths of their team. They've actually worked out the direction of their franchise now,
and they're doing it with a coach who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and the last couple of seasons, like you mentioned with Zach Randolph, they just had no idea what they were doing. Like, they went out and got a load of veterans one season, and everyone was like, "Oh, hang on a minute, you've just drafted some really talented young players and added some old guys that and they're not even complimentary old guys. They're guys who were going to demand minutes, and that just was never going to work." You go out.
Bloody Divac was like, "Pace and space, you say? Hold my beer. I'm bringing in Zach Randolph."
Yeah, and you go out this season, and they play one of the fastest pace in the league, so much so that it actually amounts to 9 extra possessions a game, which is just flipping nuts. Especially if you think of all that, if you made those as threes, you'd be laughing. But Marvin Bagley, I mentioned him on the last time I was on the podcast. Like, I know he's always going to be compared to Luka and Trae, but he's been great the last couple of months. So just to have him in there as a nice key part. I mean, he's having his best month of the rookie season. He's averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds a game. He's seriously turned it on, considering at the start of the year everyone was just going on like Luka. Bagley suddenly put his name back into some form of contention with regards to a rookie of the year. But
I was thinking about this the other day, because obviously, what you say, there's always going to be that comparison there, and like, as much as Luka is probably going to have the higher ceiling and the more star-studded career, I don't think they made a wrong decision, because they draft based on their need, not based on the talent available, which some people frown upon. But how would Fox and Luka have worked together? I don't think they would. Like, Luka didn't work with Dennis Smith Jr.
No.
Fox is a better version of Dennis Smith Jr.
Well, Luka wants the ball, doesn't he? Because he's this guy who wants to be the modern
can you
power
imagine
point
him
forward.
Being can you imagine being the sort of spear point of a fast offense? No, I can't see him being like of an efficient, paciest offense in the league. I can't see that being Luka's sort of his game at all going forwards. I just think that as great as Luka is, I think maybe they made the right decision here. Yeah, they got exactly what they needed.
They have made the right decision, because De'Aaron Fox is a guy who, certainly since his rookie season, he's got better at passing. He's averaging more assists than he averaged last season. And you notice it on the court because he's kicking it out to Hield, who's making threes at a higher percentage than he's ever made them before. And then Barnes can hit the three. Bogdanovic can hit the three. Bogdanovic is really versatile. And I kind of forget how long he's been in the league now. He's a really versatile offensive weapon for them. Bagley comes in and just sort of slots into that position where, because of how erratically and how fast they play, he can crash the boards and he can grab the loose rebounds, and that's what he's been doing. Next season, he's probably going to be a double-double guy every night, and I think De'Aaron Fox will be as well eventually once he gets more into this rhythm of giving up the ball and not necessarily just running to the hoop and trying to score a layup all the time, which he does a lot at the moment. It's working, but as he gets older and as his game matures and as that team matures, I think there's going to be multiple guys on this team who you can rely on every night to go out and score. And they've won close games this season, which is a hallmark of a good up and coming team. One of the big things we said and slandered almost about the Denver Nuggets last season was they had all this young talent, but in close games they just could not find someone to win them the game. That looks different this year, whether it's Jokic or whether it's Gary Harris or Jamal Murray. It doesn't matter who it is. They're stepping up and sort of leading and taking the moment. And I think the Kings are a little bit further back than they are at the moment. But one playoff campaign under their nose, and we could see a really, really difficult team to beat over the next few years. So I think KD is pretty right in saying that they're going to be one of those teams to be reckoned with. Come the next 5 or 6, 7, 8 years.
So the 9th seed at the minute, 2 games behind the Spurs. They've got the 28th most difficult schedule remaining.
Oh, so they take it off then.
Yeah. So they've got the Bucks, Sixers, Blazers, Celtics and Rockets in there, but then they've also got the Suns, Knicks twice, the Cavs, the Bulls and the Wizards, which just sounds like a cakewalk. Do you think they make the playoffs?
Yes, if they can get past Boston in those two Boston games, because I think where the Celtics are leading at the moment, they're just trying to win everything they can. So there'll be some crunch games there, but I'm going to say yes. I think I'd prefer watching them than watching the San Antonio Spurs. No offense, Hugh, but I just think that's a more fun matchup, and it's the baptism of fire that every young basketball team kind of needs, I think. So yeah, no, I reckon they'd sneak in there, but the Spurs are the Spurs. They'll just keep doing that dead walking Game of Thrones shit where they just they never die and never go away.
It's going to be interesting because where they're only a couple of games back, this could go all the way, to the last game of the season. They've got the Spurs in their remaining schedule as well, which can obviously help make up some ground. It is in San Antonio, and it is the day after they face the Rockets. Oh God, they got back-to-back like that.
They're going to get run away with the court.
Yeah, and their last game of the season is against the Blazers in Portland. So they despite the strength of the schedule looking relatively easy, there are some tough ones in there. I'd love to see him in the playoffs. I really would, and I agree. I'd prefer to see him in the playoffs over the Spurs. Even though that would end 22 years straight, I think, of the Spurs being in the playoffs. But yeah, all for the Kings at the minute. It is good to see them doing well and to have something positive to say about them. And I realise I said a minute ago, I got tempered the Nets because they are just, floating around 500 and these guys are just under 500. No, they're just over 500. It's just nice. It's refreshing. It is refreshing.
It's nice to talk about different teams.
Yeah.
This generally, in my 6 years of doing this podcast, might be the longest we've ever talked about the Sacramento Kings.
We've talked about them a few times this season as well. I remember Joe and I talking about them for, a fair amount.
You deep dived.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say we deep dived, but yeah. It's good. It's good to see decent basketball in Sacramento, and I imagine the fans are just like loving every minute of it.
Yeah, I have to say I know Tankathon's great and everything, and the strength of schedule thing they do is really cool. But you have to take a little bit of that with a bit of pinch of salt, because I think sometimes it probably doesn't take into account individual team situations, like how desperate some of these teams will get as we get closer and closer towards April and towards the final seedings, as to whether or not these teams want it or not. But anyway, moving on to a team that is looking like it doesn't really want it at the moment. The Los Angeles Lakers, my Los Angeles Lakers, I have to say.
Do you have to say that? Can't you just like... You've been wanting to jump ship for a while now.
Was it that obvious?
Well, yeah, we know that you're a Blazers fan at heart.
Fan of the league. What? Oh, yeah, because of Brandon Roy. My eternal love affair for Brandon Roy. Yeah, it's a good point. And Damian Lillard, who is, our number one Twitter follower, we have to say. Yeah, the Lakers are a bit of a mess. They lost those 2 games.
Surprised?
Not really. The organisation has been a mess for several seasons now. Ever since it gave Kobe that stupid contract at the end of his career, it's just been mistake after mistake. And I generally don't know how they expected going into this season to be any different. Cause I know they brought in LeBron and they added the pieces that he supposedly wanted, but when you put a bunch of guys together who are all on one year contracts, like there's no real commitment for them to make any form of effort towards, turning it into a winning situation. And I think it speaks volumes as to the fact that it's the older guys during these last couple of games against the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, like I mentioned earlier, who have been playing terribly. Rajon Rondo, KCP, McGee in particular, not playing very well at all. The effort of LeBron James has been questionable, as you have probably seen on NBA Twitter the last couple of days with all the videos of him not actually bothering to go out and close out shooters.
But that's
a LeBron
anyway.
theme. That is a LeBron theme. Yeah, that's an ongoing thing.
I saw a fantastic meme the other day that was just essentially a screenshot of a Wikipedia entry for LeBron James, which highlighted his age as being 34. Yeah, I think it actually might have been 33 on the picture, so they got that wrong because he's 34 because he's December. Yeah, he's the same year as me. That's how I know. And I'm not sure which one of us has got the worst hairline. It's probably me. And underneath it was a screenshot of a Wikipedia entry for a goat, which showed a lifespan of 32 to 33 years, and I just found that hilarious.
That's amazing.
That was, yeah, that just blew my mind that someone had done that. And then the second thing I saw was a conspiracy theory that LeBron doesn't want to make the playoffs because it means he can get off and film Space Jam 2 soon.
Yeah. This is the thing, and it brings me to the question that I was going to actually ask you: is why is LeBron James in Los Angeles?
To make money off court.
Exactly. It's not a basketball. It was never a basketball situation. I know you go into a young, talented team, but Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka over the last couple of seasons have proved that they have not been able to land anybody, and that they have made inconsistent decision after inconsistent decision. And you've got old players. Kobe's come out and said stuff recently. Shaq came out earlier on this morning and said that I was traded 6 times and I never moaned about it. It's like, well, you're not even in the league anymore. So you're...
Hold on. Shaq moaned to get traded.
Yeah, I know.
He was like, sign and trade me from Orlando because I don't want to be here anymore. Okay. Sign and trade me from the Lakers because this young buck Kobe is winding me up. It's like you can't have it both ways. You can't say I never moaned because I was traded when it's like you moaned to get traded at least twice.
That's the greatest thing about this is you see the Kobe fans, just staunch Kobe fans. We all know what they're like. They're just coming out going, "Oh well, all Kobe needed to win was the ball." Thanks for that, guys. Thanks. That's really helpful. But yeah, the young we mentioned like the young guys. Josh Hart's played really well during the last couple of games. Kyle Kuzma's played well. They're really missing Lonzo Ball. The impact of him defensively, I think he gets in the passing lanes and really makes it difficult for opposing teams. He's not a pretty player to watch by any means of the imagination, but he helps when it counts. And Brandon Ingram over his last 15 games has just been phenomenal. Like he's silenced several of his critics. He's shooting 53% from the field. He's averaged 20 points over those games, and I think he's the youngest player under 21 to have averaged at least 20 points per game on above 50% from the field during that time, which is pretty impressive. I think Kobe had that stat line as well once during his career. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's been a trend over the last half decade for this Lakers organization since the Kobe Bryant retired that they just can't wait. That they have no. The impulse button is always there. It's almost like they've got a big red button in their office that says, make a trade, try to do something stupid. And they just have to press it all the time. There's been no real long-term game plan. You bring in LeBron James, who at 34 years old is at the tail end of his career anyway. And other players have already come out publicly and said that they're not. He's not exactly the guy players are queuing up to go and join anymore. I think LeBron was a bit arrogant and thinking, "Oh well, I'm in LA now. I'll be able to get anyone I like." Maybe it's never been that.
I don't blame LeBron entirely. Like it's not his fault they're in this position, if you ask me. Which you are asking me, because it's only me and you on the pod. So I realise that's a completely pointless statement. But
high third guy
like, I get that he wants to be the best team. I'm not convinced that he is healthy at the minute. He's had perhaps the worst injury of his career.
I was going to say they were on a tear before he got injured.
Exactly. They were 20-14. That's a 58% win percentage.
And they beat
That's
the
good
Warriors.
enough for the 5th seed. And that's a team which has LeBron James, Rondo, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee is good enough for the 5th seed in the much tougher Western Conference. Without him, they went 6-12. That's Suns Knicks.
Yeah.
That's bang between the two of those.
It's the same Lakers team it was last year.
Exactly. 8 games that he's been back, they've won 3 of them. So that's not great. But that to me is like, he's not. I'm not convinced he's able to give anything at the minute because of his injury. I don't think he's suddenly just aged and fallen off the map. For that to have happened midway through a season is ridiculous. I don't think he's healthy, and I feel that he's, if he'd have stayed healthy all season, they'd be in a much different position. The way they are now, though, he's having to push himself back onto the floor in order just to give them a chance of winning, and I don't think him alone, hobbled, is enough.
Yeah, and a big part of it is the fact that there is that uncertainty there with regards to the younger players. I know I've just praised Brandon Ingram to the ceiling, but like this is just a minor stretch for him in a whole career so far where he's been very inconsistent. Kyle Kuzma's arguably been the most reliable young Laker, probably alongside Josh Hart. And there's no one for LeBron James to fall back on. And we saw that the other night. He went 8 of 23 from the field and just was forced to jack it up constantly because they're running the offense for him a lot of the time. And it just... Other opposing teams know this. They know that the ball is going to be with LeBron James and it's the other guys that you just have to, mildly pay attention to. It is a mess. I don't really know what the what it's going to be like if the Lakers miss the playoffs. I would not be surprised. In fact, I've been saying it for quite a while now. But if they snuck in just because LeBron James came back and they put together some good games, I wouldn't be surprised. But the whole furore around the Lakers and the NBA and the clutch sports and all the other crap that comes with it is just it gets on your nerves when you're just like a pure basketball fan and that's all you care about.
if you're a pure basketball fan, you probably shouldn't follow the Lakers.
No,
just saying.
No,
and that's not.
Well, I may have fallen in love with the Lakers during my youth, as you well know. So.
Like there is a lot of things that go on. That's why people, off court distractions. So LeBron said after the loss to the Grizzlies, if you're still allowing distractions to affect the way you play, this is the wrong franchise to be a part of, which is true. And you should just come in and be like, listen, I can't do this. I guess that part of this is linked to the whole AD situation and the sort of throwing everyone at New Orleans in order to try and get him. I wonder if what we're seeing is, just because it is a glitz and glamour market that more people talk about, we're seeing this, everyone's talking about the Lakers in a different way to the way they're talking about the Celtics, who basically went through the same thing, just less publicly, still saying, we're probably going to put a package around Tatum together for you. So half their team are probably going, well, we're not going to be here this time next year. So what? Maybe that's playing into their recent inconsistencies.
Yeah. They've had a lot of internal feuding though, and they've been quite public about it. The Celtics players, like Morris has come out and Smart's come out and Tatum, they've all come out and said something recently. Whereas I think the young Lakers all got on really well and gelled really well, and with Rob and Magic have constantly let parts of that young core that was getting to know each other go recently.
You're so salty about Julius Randle.
Man, don't make, I wasn't going to mention his name, but you brought it up. But
I had to. You were asking me.
Even D'Lo, like it's just you had young guys that were all gelling, and I know D'Lo made mistakes, but he was in Los Angeles. I mean, what under 21-year-old kid wouldn't make mistakes in Los Angeles? But like, genuinely, it's a little bit of it's a mess, and it's hoo-ha, and some of it's much ado about nothing. But that's just what comes with the Lakers and the spotlight of having LeBron James. I mean, in terms of the rest of their season, they've got the 8th toughest schedule remaining, supposedly. They play the Bucks twice, they play the Raptors, then they've got the Warriors again, and then they've got the Nuggets and the Thunder. All of 3 of those teams are going to be competing for seedings in the Western Conference. Well, not necessarily the Warriors, but the Nuggets and the Thunder will. It's going to be difficult. LeBron James is going to have to put in some serious minutes and increase his efficiency, and the other guys are going to have to jump in. But like, anyone who thought Reggie Bullock was going to come in and save the Lakers season was just, I don't know what they've been watching. And we traded.
So do you think they make a move? Because this Friday's the deadline.
Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony, the savior of Hollywood.
Well, I hope they don't go for Melo. I really don't.
No.
I really do. But I mean, they need more. They can't cope with what they've got now. They're okay. Let's look at the West. The Utah 6th seed are making the playoffs quite comfortably. They might even go up in the standings. So effectively, we're looking at 2 seeds, which the Lakers could occupy. So we're looking at the Clippers, the Spurs, then the Kings, then the Lakers, and then you've got Minnesota on the same record as the Lakers. Are they? Can you see them overtaking any of those?
Well, they will probably finish above the Timberwolves if they can get it together. But Karl Anthony Towns has been playing out of his skin since they traded Jimmy Butler. I won't lie to you. I have said that I genuinely didn't think they were going to make the playoffs at the start of the season, and I'm gonna stand by it. Like, I think it's too much. I do not doubt the greatness of LeBron James. Anyone who knows me and has listened to the podcast and read the website, I wrote a bloody article on LeBron James being probably the greatest player of all time a couple of months ago. So yeah, I generally, I don't know anymore. That's the answer to this question. As a Lakers fan that has been beaten to death by media the last 2-3 seasons, I'm just fed up with the whole thing.
So you're completely lakered out.
I'm lakered out, and like, the selection of free agents available at the moment is there's nobody on there that's going to make you leap for joy. You're gonna bring in like Brandon Jennings or something.
By the way, I'm going to call you out on what you just said about you were adamant the Lakers wouldn't make the playoffs before the start of the season. So I checked our DC power rankings ahead of this.
Oh yeah, my power rankings. But I did say in the Slack chat a couple of weeks ago that they weren't making the playoffs, and people kicked off at me.
Yeah, I was going to say you had them as the 7th seed.
I may have done, yes. That was a long time ago.
No, that might have been you. Oh, actually, I've got mine and yours. One of us had them as the 6th. I had them as the 6th seed, so I look even worse. To be fair,
I got stick in the
when
slack,
LeBron was healthy, they were on track for the 5th seed. So I'm taking that. They could miss the playoffs. I'm claiming that as a win.
That's the thing. It's like it is a case of why is LeBron in LA? Like the whole load management stuff that he came out with the other week after, and then he was found out that he was recording an album with 2 Chainz. It's like, if you're going to record an album with someone, please make it not anybody but 2 Chainz.
I vaguely know who 2 Chainz is. I couldn't tell you anything he did.
This is the mess you get into.
Is he an Atlanta fan?
Yes, I believe so.
There you go. I can tell you what team he follows. I can't tell you what he raps about.
This is the sort of mess and the rubbish that you end up getting into when you talk about the Lakers. Like, they are, they're a laughing stock of the league. It's like, in football when the last few years.
I thought the Suns and the Knicks were the laughing stock.
Oh mate, are you telling me the Celtics fans and Knicks fans aren't laughing at Lakers fans as much as we're laughing at them?
Well, the Celtics fans will laugh at Lakers fans because that's just the overthrow of the old
enemy.
The old enemy, yeah. But the Knicks, they're just laughing at you because if they laugh loud enough, no one will hear them crying about themselves.
They laugh at themselves.
Do you know what? I'm going to have a moan about Knicks fans now, and this really winds me up. Is that
just
Knicks
so the listeners know, moaning at
Knicks
Knicks was not on the podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't.
List.
But they've completely dismissed this season and moved on from Porzingis so quickly They're just everyone's celebrating already because they think it's July 1st and they've landed. They've drafted Zion, they've signed Kyrie, and they've signed KD. And
hasn't Durant moved like some of his businesses to New York or something?
Oh, I have no idea. His advisor, Rich Kleiman, is obsessed with becoming the Knicks GM, and I'm pretty sure that would be a conflict of interest. But yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. Imagine.
I mean, if they get those guys, that's fair play. But to be this confident already that next year you're gonna make the finals is
yeah, that's
insane.
the level of arrogance you could expect from like the Lakers, because the Lakers have won things, but the Knicks.
They won things once or twice in the 70s.
70s, for God's sake.
When Phil Jackson wore really, really, really short shorts.
I mean, that was before dial-up broadband and beating backs, for Christ's sake.
That was way before dial-up broadband. That was just about colour TV.
It's this modern era. The NBA fans listen to this podcast who are aged between 16 and 34 or whatever. They don't know what the 70s are. What's the 70s? I don't think I barely know what the 70s are, to be honest. I've seen the Bee Gees, though.
I don't know. I've already said on this pod I was born the same year as LeBron. I definitely don't know what the 70s are.
Right. Okay. We'll get off the Lakers anyway. Really quickly, the San Antonio Spurs, they've struggled a little bit recently. They've had one of the worst defensive records over their road trip. They go on this rodeo road trip every year. Because
the rodeo's in town.
Yeah, which if you're a new NBA fan, you're like, what the hell's that? Well, it's basically they make room for the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo at the Spurs' home arena. So they basically go on the road for a bit to let that take place. And yeah, they're 1-7, I think.
I think the Bulls used to have a circus one.
Did they?
Circus road trip. Yeah, it used to be the same time every year. The circus came to town, so the Bulls would be off on the road.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, rodeo sounds. Well, I don't know. Does it sound better than circus? It would be these days. You don't get any animals at circuses anymore. Although rodeo would scare the crap out of me. But anyway, that's not the point. We're talking about Spurs.
Are the Spurs? Is the Spurs streak of 21 consecutive playoff appearances, which is tied for the second longest in NBA history, I might add, in jeopardy?
Well, yeah. It's in jeopardy. Sorry, was I supposed to build up on that? I don't see that. You're going to look at this recent.
I wanted you to channel your Hugh Hopkins.
Well, I am going to channel Hugh because I went into this site. I'm going to absolutely take this opportunity to just troll Hugh whilst he can't defend himself. But they're 22-7 at home. They're 11-22 on the road, so they struggle on the road anyway. And then if you look at the teams they played, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'll give you the Knicks. That is an absolute shameful loss to give 130 points to the Knicks. But they lost to the Nets. We've already mentioned they're playing well, and it was on the road. They lost to the Raptors. They beat the Grizzlies. They should beat the Grizzlies. That's fine. They lost to the Jazz, the Blazers, the Warriors, and the Kings. There's nothing wrong with losing to those guys.
No.
Those are all, like, we've spoken about most of those teams already. They're all solid teams. They're all got winning records. Apart from obviously the Grizzlies who they beat and the Knicks who again, what a horrific loss. I'm not worried that they just lost that many games. I wouldn't be. I'm sure Hugh isn't. Their true shooting percentage did admittedly drop horrifically. They went from 5th overall in so far this season, and then over the last 8 games they dropped to 24th. They're consistently slow. They're still 21st on both. Their offensive rating scarily dropped from 7th to 22nd, and their defensive rating went from 23rd to 30th. But they were playing teams that are all playoff bound. So I am not worried. I am not worried about the Spurs at this stage. They're not by any stretch of the imagination the behemoth and the consistent standard of excellence to which we're used to. It very much feels that this is, for me, it feels like we're at an end of an era. But I don't think this is the year where that streak ends, he says, looking at the records and then going, well, they've got to overtake. Well, they're in 8th at the minute, but they've got to stay ahead of the Kings, and they've got to try and keep in contention with the Clippers. They will make the playoffs. I have faith in Pop.
Yeah, and DeMar DeRozan's playing some of the best basketball he's ever played, so you have to keep faith in them. And LaMarcus Aldridge has had a phenomenal season. Joe Holbert wrote a great piece about how well he was playing for the sort of first 2 quarters of this season. But it's just a marquee and a pedestal of success. That they're constantly in and around this position every year. We never doubt them, and when we do doubt them, we often feel like we shouldn't be doubting them, which is exactly what we're doing right now. But like, they're getting performances out of the likes of Bryn Forbes and Derek White, who have both slotted themselves quite neatly into the starting lineup recently, alongside Rudy Gay, Aldridge, and DeRozan. And yeah, they've lost 3 games in a row, but they've beaten the teams that you would expect them to normally beat. Fair enough,
except those Knicks,
except the Knicks. But like the Knicks are a weird one, and I'm sure it's something to do with playing in MSG. Like, they can be up for it. It doesn't matter who the hell they're playing, what the record is, how bad they are. It's just that
whether or
building.
Not they're trying to tank.
They just feed off the energy of that building. Like, you watch the game and you think, well, hang on, something's going to happen here. Something special's going to happen here. And I think that's partly one of those reasons why everyone, all the players speak so fondly about playing in Madison Square Garden. Is it just feels a little bit different. But yeah, no, going back to like the Spurs, I think their schedule suggests that they will make the playoffs. But like I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure I'd be the greatest fan of watching that 1 versus 8 matchup.
Yeah, I'd prefer it if it was the Kings, just from a enjoyment perspective.
Yeah,
I just think that would make a better series. But yeah, it's like I say, it feels like the door is closing on the Pop era. I mean, he's got his USA commitments till when is it? When's the next Olympics? 12, 16, 20 next year. So he's quitting USA basketball after the Olympics, and I think if he's not, if next season's not his swan song, then the one after will be. He's getting on, man. Hoops Hype today, I don't know if you saw it, did a little video of coaches in their playing days.
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, look at it. Look at it purely from Tibbs and Terry Stotts. They are amazing photos in their playing days. Terry Stotts is just a legend. But Pop in his playing day as well. It's crazy to think that guy's still involved, having been around the game for so long.
Yeah, the worrying thing for me with the Spurs is just the drop off defensively that they've had. Like, they're 24th in defensive efficiency this season. Last year they were 3rd. There's a massive drop off there, and I just think if they don't make the playoffs this season, it will be sad. Like, there will be a part of me, as much as Lakers Spurs was a massive part of my teenage years. I hate saying that phrase. It'll be a shame. Like, going out, not making the playoffs would probably be a whimper for the end of this team as we kind of know it, with Pop still there, because like they lost, was it 4-1 they lost to the Warriors last year in the first round. Like, that was a bit of a whimper, but like you would want this, you want a Pop team to go out fighting in the playoffs. You want them to go out in like, the second round in a 7-game series or something. Like, you want them to have one of those moments that you remember. But yeah, they might not get that. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs. But I wouldn't, they're another one of those teams who, just because of the way and how competitive the Western Conference is this year, they'll be in or they'll be out. I'm not sure which side of the pond I stand on.
You are sitting on the fence.
Yeah, I don't tend to sit on the fence on this podcast, but I think I will do with this one.
I've said already, like, I think they're going to be in it, but at the same time earlier I said I thought the Kings could. I want the Kings to make it.
Yeah.
So does that mean I see the Clippers dropping out? Possibly.
Well, Steve Ballmer's mate is adamant that he wants his team to challenge and keep pushing for a playoff spot.
Of course he's going to say that. What else are you going to do? To say, stop buying tickets, we're not going to bother anymore.
Oh yeah, we love Ballmer. Ballmer's made the Clippers meme wagon even more fun than it already was.
It's just in terms of we keep going back to strength of schedule. Sacramento's got an easier one than the Clippers, but they've got an easier one than the Spurs. Apparently, 18th, 22nd, and 28th. So it's going to be close. I would like to see San Antonio in it. Not that I wouldn't like to see the Clippers in it, but I think San Antonio will make it. There, I'm going on the record. I'm doing it. They're going to make it. Come on, Pop.
Fair enough. Right, to wrap up the end and to hurtle towards our Golden State Warriors quiz, we are just going to quickly discuss the Eastern Conference and the Boston Celtics, who seem to be the Eastern Conference's biggest wild card at the moment. They got hammered last night by the Toronto Raptors. The Pacers are still hanging around, which we were discussing just before we came on. We can't quite believe that since the Victor Oladipo injury. The Sixers are so up and down, you don't know what you're getting with them. And the Raptors got a massive lift when they added Marc Gasol. They've played really well since they had him, and I think they're a bit of an enigma. We don't quite know what we're going to get. Like, everyone goes on about the fact that it's the Raptors and they'll get to playoffs and they'll whimper, but this is a totally different team.
I said that months ago. This is a different team.
Yeah,
it's
a
they
totally
brought in two guys
team.
who have been to the finals and won.
And Marc Gasol's been to a Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, but he didn't win.
Well, he didn't win, but that's the experience that counts.
Yeah, and what I love is that he's played 6 games for them and started 1, and for the rest of his career, he started every single game apart from. And
he's not complained once.
7 games in his rookie season, he didn't start. Every single other game he started.
Yeah,
that's insane. He just come in. He's just gone to work. He's playing like 2/3 the minutes he was before. He's dropped from like over 30 to the first time in his career. He's playing less than half an hour. Sounds a lot less, doesn't it, when you say half an hour? He's down to 20 minutes a game, but his per 36s, he's averaging the same points. His assists just skyrocket from an already career high 5.1 to 7 if it was per 36, and his rebounds, he'd be averaging a career high in rebounds. It's almost like he's professional enough to take the step back into this as a role player, and it's unleashed this beast,
this monster of a team.
Yeah.
This dinosaur. Sorry.
Brilliant.
Sorry, that was
I
so
applaud.
bad. I'm gonna hang up now.
He's
you're right.
Phenomenal.
They've won 5 out of the last 6 games since they acquired Marc Gasol, and his impact has just been noticeable everywhere. From the first game where he played against the Knicks, and fair enough, they weren't quite expecting him to be as brilliant a passer as he was that night. Norm Powell and some of the other guys just weren't quite, aware of how well Mark can pass the ball, and the way he rebounds as he does. Like, he's a matchup nightmare for some of these teams, and they've basically took a massive gamble with this because they traded guys who knew their place in the system for guys like Marc Gasol and Jeremy Lin, who we've got to mention, and you're sort of raising your ceiling at the risk of lowering your floor. It kind of reminds me of when the Cavaliers, a while back now, went out and got Shaquille O'Neal to guard Dwight Howard in the playoffs.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, and they were all in that year, and basically this is the Raptors equivalent. They've brought in Gasol, who can guard Joel Embiid if they face the Sixers in the series. And in the games,
can he though?
Well, if you go back to his games with the Grizzlies, he made Embiid work, and work's probably an understatement. In the 2 games the Sixers played against the Grizzlies this season, Embiid was 8 for 28, which is not great.
Yeah, but
and he just makes them better because in the playoffs,
yeah, I get that. I just wonder whether Jackson Jr. would be a better matchup in that instance, just because of the length and pace and ability. Because what concerns me about Mark is, he's getting on. He's also 34. He can't cover the ground when they spread the floor. What he's given them is another body for throwing at Embiid and making him work his ass off in the post. But I just love the sort of the extra level of versatility they've got now in that 3-headed monster of
it's stacked
big guys of Gasol, Siakam, and Serge Ibaka. It's just,
well, they could even mess that up as well because they can play Kawhi at the 4.
Well, yeah,
which takes them to another level. But when the game slows down in the playoffs and becomes a half-court game, it's the fundamentals that take over. And Marc Gasol has got fundamentals for years. Like,
oh yeah,
you watch him on telly and you can hear him on the broadcast. Like, he's a defensive leader for the bench. He's completely rejuvenated that bench. He's an impact player, he's really loud. You can hear him yelling, like in the games in the Garden where they've got those mics that are really close to the stanchion. Like you could hear everything he was saying, yelling at Danny Green, yelling at Norman Powell, yelling at Jeremy Lin and other guys to get out and do what they need to be doing. And he just thrives as a rebounding presence there underneath the rim. And with the Raptors shooting struggles recently, it's kind of benefited him because he's been able to grab a lot more boards and he puts back offensive rebounds a lot better than I think Serge Ibaka does. Purely because he's got the length and it's almost the finesse that he's got. I mean, Ibaka's a great player, but there's a certain level of finesse that you just watch the way Marc Gasol plays in the post. He can do everything, and he elevates that bench, which is something that the Raptors have certainly in the last 5-6 years. They've never really had anyone to come off the bench and do that for them, and it speaks volumes that you've got the Grizzlies' best player coming off the bench for a contending team in the Eastern Conference. And yeah, he probably should be playing a lot more minutes for the starting five. That's probably the only problem I've had with them so far, but Serge is happy in that role. They all seem fairly happy to rotate, and this is why I called them an enigma early on, because I think they'll get to the playoffs and they'll be able to try these three different giant players in multiple positions, and then they can even play a little bit of small ball if they want to. And they're scaring me right now, the Raptors, which they've scared us before, but I think this year they've actually got some serious bark or bite.
Clever girl. They
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no, I know. That made me laugh. I made myself laugh. Like I said as well, I feel this is a different team. I really do. I will be surprised and more than disappointed if they flame out anywhere near the way they've flamed out in previous seasons.
I don't think Kawhi Leonard will let them do
that. He's got to be playing more. He's still resting a lot, and I get this. I don't know. It just seems odd that this is still an issue for him, and I'm worried that I know you get a couple of days more rest in the playoffs, but you need to be there in every game, and they're not going to be used to him playing in every game. And I just wonder how that's going to affect things.
They've done pretty well without him, though. Like that's what's pretty remarkable. It's like you look at the Celtics last season when Kyrie was out; they played really well. This season when Kyrie's been out, yeah, they've won a couple of games, like the Sixers the other week, but like they've still not looked as good as they did when Hayward and Irving weren't contributing to the team this time last season. And I think it's similar with the Raptors now. I think the Raptors have a little bit of a cushion now, in fact, because of the way Pascal Siakam's been playing. He's shooting the ball better than he's ever shot before. He's become one of those guys who you just have to watch. He's a human highlight reel. Good old Spicy P. But the biggest worry for me with the Raptors just in general isn't the fact that Kawhi's not played perhaps as many games as he should have done. It's more their shooting is a little bit sporadic, but adding Gasol is designed to negate that, because you're hoping you're going to win enough offensive rebounds off your missed shots that you're going to end up putting the points in and cancelling that out anyway. But yeah, I think they're stacked. They're really deep. I think there's two elite teams in the Eastern Conference right now. Just to cover in general, it is the Raptors and the Bucks. I think they are leaps and bounds above everybody else. They seem really happy. They're all getting on. Even Kawhi's been a little bit more talkative recently. You watch that they have, I can't remember what it's called. Is it Open Floor or something that the Raptors YouTube channel has, where they sort of document the team season. Well worth a watch, and he seems like happy and laughing and joking with his teammates and stuff in those. So I think they've basically Masai Ujiri's gone like, right, we're all in for you. Like, we are proving to you that we will not rest. We're one of those organizations that has the caliber to go out there and make the moves and get things done. And they've gone out there and done that. Like Jeremy Lin, like the value of adding Jeremy Lin is undeniable, really, because like his off the ball work is more noticeable and meaningful than the stuff he does on the ball. He's a bit different to Fred VanVleet. I think they can play together, but Lin always has like, whenever Lin is dribbling the ball, it looks like he's dribbling with a purpose. Whereas Fred VanVleet, sometimes you're not quite sure what he's going to do. Fred VanVleet has two things: he like drives to the rim and tries to score a layup, or he sort of passes himself out to the corners and tries to hit the threes, which is what he's good at. Jeremy Lin's got a great mid-range jumper, something which I think has always been underrated for him, but he can do the other things as well. So you put those two together and you get another degree of unpredictability in your second unit coming off the bench, which is then complementing Marc Gasol, who is a passing god. They're stacked everywhere. I cannot say a bad thing about this team, even though I did say that their shooting woes have been there. But do
you think Masai Ujiri is Executive of the Year?
You've got to give it to, is it Horst at Milwaukee?
What, for adding Brook Lopez?
Well, for adding Mirotic and just doing what they've done, like the whole general way that franchise has performed, the way they are building an infrastructure around one person. Giannis has basically rejuvenated an entire city. It's unbelievable. Like, you look at the arena went up and all the new buildings that have gone around it and the increased
interest.
That's
bigger than the GM, all the arena and stuff.
Yeah,
that's ownership.
Yeah.
Like whereas for me, like I mean, the addition of Brook Lopez has been incredible, and the transformation of him has me thinking that Bud should be Coach of the Year. But when it comes to the GM role, you had the top team in the East last year, regular season, obviously not finals or anything like that.
Completely blow it up, yeah.
Completely blow it up on the fly. Have barely lost a step. Have added a finals MVP, another 3-and-D guy who is playing unbelievably well in Danny Green. They've now added Gasol. They've added Jeremy Lin. It's just like the moves he's made that have been blockbuster moves. He's got like a Midas touch at the minute. For me, and I get the Horst argument. For me, it's Masai though. He just seems to have. What's the past tense of wheel and deal? It's like wheeled and dealt. Doesn't quite work.
No, it doesn't.
He's just done some fantastic manoeuvring.
But it's like the game last night. Like, they play the Celtics, who going into that game should have been really up for it. Like, fair enough, the first quarter was fairly competitive, but when the Raptors went on that 18-0 run, the Celtics just didn't have anything there, and that speaks volumes as to how disjointed and how fed up that locker room is at the moment, and how public they've been with speaking. But it also speaks to the style of basketball that the Raptors have played this season. Like, yeah, they've had bad shooting nights, but they had 17 threes last night, a lot of which came from Norm Powell. Now, Norm Powell has had some good games throughout his career, most notably in the playoffs a couple of years ago, but most nights you can't rely on him. So I guess it's adding Marc Gasol and Jeremy Lin, who are two guys who are there and are pretty consistent with the way they play, and cancelling and sort of negating the uncertainty that you get with some of the other players that were on that Raptors bench and committing to that second unit. So yeah, I think the Raptors they're well there. If they don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd be incredibly disappointed. If I was Kawhi Leonard, that would be the minimum that would keep me there. I know he's bought a house and everything in California, but that's irrelevant.
A bit of a trek from the Staples Center.
Yeah, but it is a massive trek from the Staples Center, and maybe he just wants to go down for the summer and then go back up to Toronto. Like, I think he probably
Which is what most guys do.
Yeah, I bet he likes it up there. No one bothers him. He just gets on with basketball. It's like the perfect situation for the Terminator to live in.
I'm not going to add anything to that. I think that's perfect
because he is the Terminator. But yeah, no, that's just general. Is there anything else really quickly that you want to bring up? No, stretch one to pay attention to. No.
Just watching for those 7, 8, 9 races.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, SkySports.com, who are obviously the official providers of the NBA in the UK now, they have got an article saying, "So you think you know the Golden State Warriors?" Which amused me. So I thought we were gonna have a go through this. So me and Mike have not seen this. I actually probably should send you the link, Mike.
Doesn't that mean I can cheat though? If you
actually, do I not want to send you a link? Okay, am I just asking you the question? Am I? Is this how we're going to do this?
Well,
because I've not seen it.
No, we can. Yeah, but you can read the question. If it's multiple choice, then we can debate the answer.
Okay. Well.
All right. Okay. Send me the link, and then I can do it as well. Because if we disagree,
I'll pronounce it. So right, here we go. This is Sky Sports' "Do you think you know the Golden State Warriors?" quiz. If we don't do well at this, then I don't know why we're here.
We can edit this off the end anyway. It's fine.
No pressure. Right. Okay. In the 2015-16 season, the Golden State Warriors set the NBA record for regular season wins. How many wins did they rack up?
Well, that's a nice easy one.
71, 72, 73, 74, 70.
Oh, it's a multiple choice between 4.
Yeah.
Of course it is. The ABC.
73.
Well, it's obviously 73 because they beat the 72-10 Chicago Bulls.
Yes, it is.
73-9 is fine, but it loses the shine when you don't win a championship.
Whoa, oh, okay. Stephen Curry is a 2-time NBA regular season MVP. In which 2 seasons did he win the award? 2012-13 and 2013-14, 2013/14 and 2014-15.
Oh, bloody hell.
Or 2014-15 and 2015-16, or 2015-16 and 2017-18.
Okay, so let's just work our way quickly back through the MVPs then. So it was Harden last year, Westbrook the year before that.
So that cancels out 2015-16.
So that's 18 and 17 gone. So it's going to be 16 and 15, isn't it? And then it was KD and 14. That be right?
So we're going with 2014/15.
It was back to back, wasn't it? Well, it must be. They're giving you back to back options.
Yeah. So it was the. I reckon it was the 2014-15 season, and then the
15-16.
Yeah.
And then 16-17 Westbrook,
Okay,
17-18
let's
Harden,
go for that one.
18-19 Giannis.
Okay, let's go for that one. We'll see how we do at the end.
Oh, does it not tell you straight away?
Oh. 2 Warriors players have been named MVP in Golden State's 3 NBA Finals triumphs. Who are they?
Well, okay, so that's Iggy and KD because it's Finals MVP. Yeah?
Okay, so I won't leave the others out. We'll just go with that. That is right, though.
Cha-ching.
Since taking over as head coach of the Warriors, head coach Steve Kerr's postseason wins-loss record is...
Oh, God.
53-30, 58-25, 63-20, or 68-15.
It's going to be one of the latter two, isn't it?
When was the last time they lost a series? 2014?
Well, against the Cavs.
No. Oh, I meant...
They lost the finals.
In the West, I meant. Never mind.
Oh, right. They got pushed to 7 by...
Well, they went all the way through without losing a single...
Until the finals. Year, but they also got pushed to 7 by the Thunder in 17 before losing in 7 to the Cavs, yeah?
Yeah, they did. Because that had that
16
iconic photo of KD and Steph hugging each other, and then about 2 months
later... So there's 4 losses, there's 8. What were the lowest 2? There was 25 and... No, 20 and what?
No, 20 and 63.
And yeah, was that the lowest one?
No, the lowest one's 15 and 68. I don't think it could... They've not lost 15 games. They've lost more than 15 games, haven't they?
If they lost more, it's 20.
I'm going to go with 20.
They've definitely lost 8, because they've lost 2 series.
Okay, we'll go with that
and
one.
They must have dropped...
It's 63 and 20. We've got that one.
Was it told you the answer's correct already?
Yeah, it's flashing green, which I've just noticed.
Oh, right.
Oh, this is brilliant. We need to get one of these on our website.
Yeah.
Who were the last Western Conference team to beat the Warriors in the playoff series? That was where I was going. Okay, so we've got multiple choice. We've got Clippers, Spurs, Thunder, Grizzlies. Thunder didn't do it.
The Grizzlies didn't do it because that was
Grizzlies
supposed to be the watershed moment.
Spurs did beat them, but I think the Clippers beat them more recently.
Did they?
7-game series, 2014. Because the Clippers...
Have you just pulled that out?
No, I generally knew that because the Clippers...
the Clippers
were in Game 6 and they lost by... I think they lost by 2 points and they had a chance of sealing the series on the road.
When has Chris Paul made it to the second round of the NBA playoffs? Only as a Rocket.
Yeah, but
it can't be. It's got to be Spurs.
No, but this is in a playoff series, so it could have been the last Western Conference team to beat the Warriors.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'm going to go with Clippers. Should we go with Clippers?
Yeah, go with Clippers.
Boom. Woo! We got that one.
So we don't know how many we've got yet because you've only just
no,
noticed
I've
the
not
green
been
flashing
totaling.
light.
This is not going well.
This is brilliant.
Which of the following scoring feats has Warriors sharpshooter Klay Thompson not achieved?
Oh, okay.
Scoring 37 points in a single quarter.
Achieved. Tick.
Scoring 55 points in one half. Ooh, scoring an NBA record 14 3-pointers in one game. They did that.
Check.
Was that the Bulls? That was against the Bulls, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Scoring 60 points in less than 30 minutes of play in a single game. He's definitely done that.
It's B. It's B. It's the 50 points and a half.
Yeah, we got that one. Okay.
Ching.
I think we're doing all right. What lead did the Warriors famously blow to the 2015-16 NBA Finals?
Was it 3-1 by any chance?
3-1. Well, yeah. I don't know where this is tailored. Kevin Durant has led the NBA in regular season scoring 4 times. How many of those seasons was he playing for the Warriors? 3, 2, 1, or none?
None? I'm guessing none.
They were all with the Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that one. Draymond Green is a former winner of which regular season award? Defensive Player of the Year. Duh.
Correct.
There's others in there. Regular season most valuable player? I don't think so. Keep dreaming.
No. What are the other two? Rookie of the Year and most improved?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were going to throw something sensible. Stupid in there.
Stephen Curry holds the NBA record for the most three-pointers made in a single regular season. How many threes did he make to set the record in 2015-16?
Oh, it was 500 and something.
286, 342, 378, 402.
Oh, it's 402 then. I thought he broke 500. Maybe that was attempts.
Okay, we'll go 4-2. You got that one. Well done. 402. This is a real team effort here. I feel like we're sharing the load.
I'm waiting for questions about Rick Barry.
Well, we've only got 2 left, so...
Oh, right.
Which of the following former Warriors does not have a championship ring with the Golden State Warriors? David Lee, Kent Bazemore, Zaza Pachulia, or Leandro Barbosa?
Barbosa, it's Bazemore. Because, hang on, let's go to the David Lee one. It might be David Lee.
Ooh.
So Barbosa was definitely there. Pachulia was definitely there.
They would have not given David Lee one, would they? Why would Kent Bazemore not? What?
Because Kent Bazemore left before the championship started, didn't he? I think it's Bazemore because I think the first year they won it was when Lee was injured at the start of the season. They introduced Draymond in Kerr's first year.
Yeah,
I think it's Bazemore.
Okay, we got that one. Hold on. Final question. The Warriors are bidding to win their third successive NBA title. Who was the last NBA team to record a three-peat of consecutive championship wins?
You might be able to.
Yeah, I think that was the Lakers. Is that supposed to be difficult? Okay, what did we get? Oh, it's loading. 12 out of 12.
There we go.
Excellent effort, worthy of an NBA title. Thanks, Sky Sports. Appreciate it. That was a joint effort there. I think we might have been a bit less if we'd have been doing that ourselves, but
no, we wouldn't. We'd have both got it.
We combined our brain power to come up with that.
I think we'd have both got 12 out of 12.
I think I got the Kent Bazemore one wrong because, to be honest, I do not keep track of who gets rings and who doesn't.
That was fun.
That was a bit fun. Yeah, that was interesting.
I'm sure it was more fun for us than it was for anyone still listening at this point.
Oh yeah, but we can put the link in the description, and then you can go and do it yourselves. Well, you know the answers.
Repeat
now.
all the answers we've just given.
I just don't know why I just said that. Oh well, never mind. What an idiot! I just slapped myself on the forehead. Right, I probably should go and put this thing together. Please check out the website doubleclutch.uk. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please review us on iTunes or whatever platform it is you listen to. Do remember we are on Spotify, and we've actually been uploading to YouTube recently as well. We're working on trying to get some people to come in and do some sort of video content and stuff for us. I know it's something that Mike has harassed me about constantly day and night. So we're going to try and get something done. But yeah, check out the website. Loads of great written content going on there at the moment. And please do follow all of our team at their respective Twitter handles. If you go on the website and you go on About and then you go to roster, you can find everybody's Twitter handles. Some really enthusiastic, knowledgeable NBA fans in this country now. And I think it's about time that, they got some of the respect they deserve.
I totally agree. One other thing, it turns out that the the Slack chat caps at 99 notifications, so it already capped by the time we started.
Oh god,
it's over 197 now.
Wow. Okay.
So thanks guys for spamming my phone.
Oh, that's amazing. And if you do want to get involved in Double Clutch as well, we do have a section on the website now which you can check out if you're really good at video editing, like we just said, or if you can edit podcasts, or if you're a really keen writer, perhaps you're a sports journalism student and you're looking for somewhere to sort of air your views on the NBA, please do get in touch. We like to hear from you. Anyway, that has been it. We will catch you hopefully at some point next week. There's some guests and stuff lined up that I know Josh Coyne's got ready, so don't know when they'll be coming out yet, but we'll find out. But anyway, we hope you've enjoyed the show. Goodbye, Mike.
Goodbye, Matt.
Toodaloo.